Perfect. So hello, everyone. As Tony mentioned, my name is Simon Mallett. I'm the Executive Director of the ROZSA Foundation. And the ROZSA Foundation is a family foundation that was founded in 1990. So we're actually celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. And it's a private family foundation that exclusively supports the arts in Alberta. And we do that in a number of different ways. And I think we can go to the next slide. There we go. So the different ways that we do that is that we have a granting program. Now, I will say that the ROZSA Foundation, as a foundation, we can only provide grants to registered charitable organizations. And so this typically means that we're supporting organizations that have been around for a while and have become charities within Canada. So we don't do, unlike Calgary Arts Development, we don't do any granting directly to artists, although there are some ways that we support artists through organizations which I'll talk about a little bit later on. And just to certainly speak to other individual views that are available both through the provincial government and the federal government as well, but that's for later. So we have a suite of granting programs, which I'll talk about a little bit. We have a suite of arts leadership programs, which Geraldine will go into more detail on. And you know, we often say that the ROZSA Foundation sort of lives at the intersection of business and the arts. And so these arts leadership programs are you know, there are certainly artists who take them, but it's also for people who are interested in the sort of arts management side of things. So the running of arts organizations, people who want to start their own organizations or work within other existing organizations. Then we have the ROZSA Awards. And so this is an annual gathering that happens typically in the fall, although we have postponed this year's event. And the ROZSA Awards are presented to someone for excellence in arts management. And then we also last year introduced an award for excellence in board leadership. So this goes to the chair of a board of directors of an arts organization for their excellent work. And then we're involved in sort of research and collaboration and advocacy activities in various ways throughout the sector as well. So the next slide, please. That's me. Next slide. It's my headshot. So a little bit more about the granting programs that we have to offer, and we can go to the next slide. So we have experimentation grants, and these are an opportunity for an arts organization to sort of test out a theory that they have. So, you know, if you think about, I don't know how many folks had to do science experiments when you were in high school, but you had to sort of come up with a hypothesis, which was this educated guess that you had around something that you could do an experiment on and then sort of test the results. And our experimentation grants really sort of follow that, but within the process of managing an arts organization. And so if you had, you know, the picture here is a terminal that the Glenbow Museum downtown purchased to experiment with a tap to donate function, recognizing that they have all of these free events, but no one carries cash anymore, very rarely. And so if they had a terminal that people could just tap their card to make a donation, might they be able to increase their fundraising? So they had a hypothesis that if they had the avenue available for people to donate, even though they weren't carrying cash, then they would be able to generate more donation revenue. So they designed an experiment, which is to get this terminal to move it around the museum, see where the high traffic areas were, and then be able to evaluate the results. So there's really that pathway of going, we want to test a thing, we have an experiment designed, we have a way to evaluate it, and then the question becomes, what does that mean if we were to sort of scale that up at a larger scale, which we'll talk about in a moment. So next slide. And then we have the Aspiration Grant is a grant for, again, for organizations to see how they can move towards their aspirational vision for the future. And so a lot of the time this is supporting sort of key administrative management processes like strategic planning, fund development planning, Sometimes it's about redeveloping a website in order to add a critical new capacity for an organization. We're really sort of focusing on the capacity building components of an organization through these grants. We do also support programming through these grants. And so for organizations, they can apply if they have a program that they think is going to really create a new capacity for them that's important. So it might be about the opportunity to share their work with a much larger audience than they've ever done before by partnering with another organization, or it might be about pursuing a new line of work that could actually create a whole new revenue stream for them. So again, it's programming in service of that kind of the business capacity of the organization. The next slide. And then we have our transformation grants. And so just to go back to the experimentation grants, so if you go through an experiment and, so you get this tap to donate terminal and you realize that your donations are, up by 400%, then it becomes about going, okay, well, if we were to scale this up, if we were to really think big, what might this mean? So it might actually be about installing mini galleries throughout the city with these terminals. It might be about taking one of these terminals to festivals everywhere, right? So really thinking about how can we expand upon the idea that we have done some testing and experimenting on in a way that's going to potentially more significantly transform our organization. And some of those things can also really shift the kind of programming that an organization does in the process. But what we're really trying to do is to build stronger arts organizations through our granting, recognizing that certainly having a strong group of artists in the city is critical to developing a strong art scene, but so too is having strong organizations because they're the ones who are going to, they're going to do a lot of employment of artists. They're the ones, who can sort of really scale up and create large scale work and present that to larger audiences as well. And so, we sort of take the approach that if we can build strong and resilient arts organizations, then the arts community and the arts sector as a whole within the city will be stronger for it. Next slide. And then we have, this is a new grant. This is the IBPOC Arts Leaders Residency Grant. And so this is for Indigenous, Black, and people of color who are aspiring towards leadership roles in arts organizations. And so this is really about sort of creating pathways for people who say, I'm really interested in becoming an artistic director or an executive director of an arts organization. And what I would really benefit from is sort of an extended period of time working with a mentor within an arts organization to really develop and learn those skills. And so basically the individual approaches an organization who they feel can help them to realize their goals within a mentorship. And then it's essentially the funding goes to the organization, but it goes to the organization in order to pay that individual for a year-long residency as a part-time employee. So it's a $20,000 grant over the course of a year that allows that person then to have dedicated and paid time to continue to learn and grow as a leader, in the hopes that, a little bit further down the road, when it comes time for an organization to seek new leadership, that they become really sort of viable candidates for that. And ultimately the eventual goal for this is to be able to, develop a greater diversity among arts leadership in Calgary and in Canada, because, it is, many of the arts organizations in the country are led and sort of controlled by white people, and recognizing that that's something that needs to change in order to reflect the diversity that is in Canada's population and is in Canada's arts community as well. Next slide. So that's my email, simon@rosefoundation.org. The spelling is ROZSA. But I think you can probably punch a number of variants of that into Google, and it'll hopefully eventually help you find the way. So I'm certainly happy to talk about any of those for anyone who might be working with a charitable organization. or anyone who's interested in learning more about what becoming a charity entails, although Geraldine will talk a little bit about that too in our arts leadership programs. Yeah, by all means, I'm always happy to talk, and as we go on, I can talk about some other funding avenues that are not ROZSA Foundation specific as well. Next slide. Over to you, Geraldine.
Thank you, Simon. So if you hear children in the background, they're all hungry for supper, so you might hear them, but they've been told to leave me alone for this time with you. So thank you all for coming to this. Yeah, I'm the Arts Leadership Director for the ROZSA Foundation, and I've been in that role for 4 years, and minus 1 year for maternity leave. And I'm very passionate about learning and building skills in arts management, which was a field that I had no idea existed a long time ago, but was always drawn to the arts and curious about how do you put on an exhibit or a show or a concert, and just very curious about that. And growing up, I had an unusual childhood of having house concerts in my actual house for 11 years, which definitely piqued my interest in arts management, but didn't know that this could actually be a career until I was into university. So it can be a career, and a lot of artists do transfer their skills as an artist into arts management. It's a pretty natural progression that many do, but if you're not required to go down this path either. So for those who do, we do have arts management programs for arts managers at different stages of their career. If they're just curious and interested, what is this all about? We have, I'll talk about it later. We have our RAFT program. And then as you continue to build skills, we have 2 more programs that come after that. And I will say that these programs are different than going to university to take a degree. They're professional development programs that allow you to work and study at the same time. So everything that you're hearing, we hope that you'll be able to put into practice immediately, whether that's into your artistic practice, your arts management practice, or if you're a board member or a volunteer of an arts organization. Hopefully the information that we're providing is immediately useful, or at some point will be useful in your career. So we do provide a certificate, but we don't provide a degree. So you can go to the next slide. So I'll just talk just generally about our arts leadership program. So as Simon mentioned, we have an arts and business approach. So recognizing that many of the individuals who come to our programs have an artistic discipline that they have focused on, and then so there's that knowledge plus knowledge of business skills, management skills in human resources and financials, and understanding how boards work and all of that. So that's our approach, and we offer a lot of experiential learning through all of our programs, through our final projects. So you're learning, but you also get to apply the information that we're sharing to a specific project, as well as to your day-to-day work. Another feature of our programs is that because you're in this classroom environment, there's a lot of peer-to-peer learning, which is also really exciting, meeting other arts administrators and artists and board members and volunteers in the community. And there's a lot of knowledge that's shared in the room, just casually as well. So that's always that's a benefit of the programs. And as I mentioned, just the ability to be able to study and work at the same time. And in the past, all of our programs were offered just in person, and we offered them mostly in Calgary, and went on the road a little bit to Edmonton and Lethbridge. And this year, because of COVID, we have gone online with our program, so that's a big learning for us, but also an exciting opportunity to be able to reach more individuals around the province, which is more difficult to do when you're on the road. So that has a new exciting opportunity for us. Next slide, please. So we have 3 programs, and the first program, we call it, we really like our acronyms, and we call it RAFT, which is the short form for the ROZSA Admin Fundamentals Training Program. And this is for individuals who have 0 to 3 years of experience. It was offered as a 2-day program over the weekend, but we've now gone online, and it's 3 weeks. And we're doing it right now, September, October, and we're having another session in November and December. And we'll see what the new year brings us. We haven't planned that far yet. The program is set up as an interactive case study, so there's dialogue between characters, and then teaching learning moments in between all of that dialogue. And so we cover, if you have any questions about what does it mean to be on a board, what is that experience like, how do you run a board meeting, you'll get some information about that. We talk about financial statements and strategic and project planning. And whether you're an artist or arts manager, there are a lot of artists who take this program to also better understand how to work with an arts organization, whether they're employed or on contract. It helps them to give them a better understanding of what that experience is like. Yeah, in the picture you can see there's a presentation happening. We can go to the next slide, please. So you may recognize Toyin in the picture. So we have our ROZSA Arts Management Program, which is for mid to senior arts managers. So a lot of what we learn in arts management is often on the job. And then all arts managers wonder, is there a better way to do this work that's more efficient? And that's where RAMP comes in. You might have had a lot of work experience, and you want to formalize all that learning that you've had and also connect with your peers. RAMP is unique in that we partner with the University of Calgary to teach this program, and with the Haskayne School of Business there. And this year we've also added some artists and arts managers and nonprofit professionals to our faculty to also teach this program. And you can see we're starting in October and we'll be going until April. And all of the sessions this year are online. And we'll be covering lots of topics. We have 10 different sessions. You just see a few listed there: marketing, leadership, finance, HR, advocacy, and more. We can go to the next slide. So as part of the ROZSA Arts Management Program, we're also able to offer what's called an Action Learning Plan grant. So in the program, we ask each grant participant to develop an action learning plan, whether it's for their artistic practice or for an organization that they're working for. And once they develop it and present it, then there's an opportunity to support that plan with a grant. So it's a neat intersection between the professional development that we offer as well as the granting opportunities that we offer. Next slide. And then our final arts leadership program is called the ROZSA Executive Arts Leadership Program. And it's for senior level arts leaders who have 5 to 10 years of experience. They may be in a management role, or they might be in a leadership role. We come together as a small cohort, about 10 to 12 people, and have about 7 sessions. And this happens between January to April time period, and we continue on with the topics from the arts management program, the RAMP program, but dig a little bit deeper and think about not only about the skills that we're learning for the organization that we might be connected with, but also what the work that we're doing, what it means to the arts sector beyond our arts organization is a big focus in this program. And here is the cohort from this past year. And I think that's it. And then my contact information.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you so much for the details and everything. Really appreciate you coming today. Let me quickly give a little background to why we wanted to touch base on RESIDENCY Foundation and Calgary Arts Development. I know that there are people here who are not artists alone, who are arts managers, who are kind of like, okay, we have this project at the back of our mind, or we don't know how to go about it. Or you might even be a new immigrant who is just trying to get an employment, or who is trying to work in an arts organization. I've had a couple of people walk up to me and say that this is what I do. I've been in, I've done festivals, I've put up cultural shows and things like that in my country, and I don't even know if there are organizations where I can work or where that experience can be relevant. If you want to start up a career in a new country that you're just coming to, or maybe you've even been here for some time and you just need to have some transition in your career, those programs are a very good one for you. I have taken RAFT myself, and I've also taken RAMP. You saw my picture with the team at RESIDENCY Foundation, and I know Taylor has also been to RAFT, and Adriana is currently taking RAMP. Is going to be taking RAMP, I believe. So yeah, it's a very good opportunity for every artist and arts manager to learn from. Now, just as I said at the beginning, we're going to be dividing ourselves into 2 groups. So one group is going to be with Taylor, and the other group is going to be with Geraldine and Simon. And you're free to introduce yourself to them, to ask them questions, any form of questions that you might have about all their presentations and things like that. And after 15 minutes, you're going to switch. You're going to just meet yourself in another room magically with the other team, right? Either from Calgary Arts Development or RESIDENCY Foundation. And we're going to be doing that right away. So if you've written questions, if you have things that you want to ask, or if you've spoken with me before, I know a couple of people in this event right now that have asked me questions about grants that I couldn't answer, or that I said, hey, wait till we have this event and then you're going to get those answers. Please feel free to ask Taylor and Geraldine and Simon these questions, okay? Thank you very much. So, Adri, do you want to activate the breakout room now? Okay, thank you. We're all here now, I believe.
I think so, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope we all enjoyed the breakout sessions. It was just so we could have a closer look.
Sorry, your camera is off.
Oh my God, apologies. Now you can see my face. We just wanted more intimate sessions with everyone so that we could know more about their programs. And in the next 5 minutes, Geraldine from ROZSA, will be sharing a little bit about experience with grants. I just wanted to speak about it just because it might give you another perspective to an individual and how it worked for others to learn something from. Geraldine, over to you, please.
Oh, hello, everyone. Yeah, I mean, this is for us was the first time that we applied to a grant, like in general, like, so we saw this opportunity. Cecilia Barbosa is also here in the chat. So we thought about what kind of project, being both artists. I'm coming more from the theater, but Cecilia is a visual art. And we had some training, like an intense training at the beginning of the year in digital storytelling. So we were thinking, what can we do during this COVID time that there's no place, there's no, exhibitions. So Cecilia and me were like, what can we do? So then we thought about, why if we apply digital storytelling, which is one of the things that we were training intensively, what if we apply that to the artists? So then we can ask the artists to explore who they are as artists, think, what are these moments or aha moments in life for them, how they discover themselves. And, we put all these ideas together, and then we try to adapt it to the ROZSA Foundation grant. And I mean, we were so happy when we sent it to Simon and he said, oh, I think you guys have a good project here, because we thought this is, maybe it's messy. We don't know. We didn't have any other reference. It was the first time. So yeah, we were so happy that actually he gave us feedback to which areas we needed to make it stronger in the writing or in the arguments or in the things we needed to explain. And I will say, before doing the writing, I check a lot of resources in internet, like how do you suppose to write a grant, or be direct or be specific, or these little tips that I thought were very helpful. And then we tried to do it not as close as the deadline, but at the end it was close to the deadline anyway. But we spent several hours because English is not our first language, so we struggle a little bit, but we are very happy we made it. So yeah, and then the experience has been great, and we actually finished, and we are now going to have the online exhibition on the 16th of October. But we also got attention from other organizations we have been talking to from the beginning of the project. So now we're going to have 2 events besides not only the one in October, but we already, that is with Casa Mexico Foundation. And then in November, we're going to have another one with Hispanic Arts. And yeah, we are so honored, to be in the position that it was the first time and we got it right. And yeah, we're super happy.
Thank you so much, Geraldine. I'm very excited that I know a little bit. The reason why I asked Geraldine to share is we've had a couple of sessions when she asked me about, hey, who can I approach for this? And we've had a couple of times going over their project. And I'm so glad that it's turning out the way they wanted it to turn out. Now, one of the reasons why we organize these type of events is to make sure that when you come as a newcomer or an immigrant, or you as a creative person, we know that one of the most important things to you is to connect to your profession, of course, to get a job and all that. And if funding is a problem, it then poses a huge challenge for you that you might not be able to navigate. Now, we wanted Taylor to speak briefly about, sorry,
Just
Lee,
before
you had
that,
a question.
Joyin, Simon wanted to add something else.
Oh, apologies, I didn't see that.
No, that's okay. Sorry, I was just going to, thanks, Geraldine, for speaking about your experience. and I just want to pick up because I know Taylor sort of expressed the invitation as well in her presentation that, like, for those of us who are working on the funding side of things, you know, we want to, it's our job to support people in a successful process. And so, you know, Taylor talked about sort of the desire to know what you're thinking about, to provide feedback. Like this is part of our work, is to help you to craft things, is to give you feedback on drafts, is, you know, sometimes, and really sort of help you to navigate the processes that are out there. And so I was really glad, Geraldine, when you reached out, and because this was a grant that was a partnership between the ROZSA Foundation and Calgary Arts Development to you know, to help produce online content, you know, through the early days of COVID. And I think, you know, the one other thing I'll say too, which is sort of specific to this meeting, is that there is a deliberate effort right now among funders to diversify the kinds of stories that are being told in Calgary's arts community. And you know, part of the reason for success of Geraldine's grant was because it was an opportunity to tell interesting stories in interesting ways. And you know, Taylor and I were both received the grant and talked about the grant together, and it was exciting to us because it was from a different voice. And you know, so the thing that I'll say to all of you is that you all have voices that we want to be hearing from in terms of you know, supporting the kind of artistic work that's created in our community. And so, you know, if you have a project that you want to pursue it, and if you have an avenue that you can you know, pursue some funding, yeah, we want to hear your voices. We want to help you amplify your voices and create your art, because we need you. We need you as part of our artistic community. And so, you know, any way that we can help to support that to happen is that's what we're here for.
Well, thank you. I think I would like to add that in the same way Simon is saying we want to hear other voices, at the same time, Cecilia and me, we thought how we can be with this super tiny project, because it was only for, well, we said it was for 5, but we actually did it for 7, and then we end up having 6 artists. But we thought how we can be a little bit of a platform that we would like to have for ourselves. You know, we want to provide more visibility and more skills for the artists in the Hispanic community, because we felt like it was a mirror for us too. And at the end, we also had a lot of support from like a mentorship from one person from the University of Calgary, and she's also Hispanic. So at the end, we were so happy. There were 9 Hispanic women's artists involved in this project. And yeah, it's been great, really, really great.
Thank you very much, Geraldine. Thank you very much, Simon, for making that emphasis. The arts community needs you. Doesn't matter what type of art or where you're coming from. We need you to speak out and to be the voice for your community also, to create that vibrancy that is already existing. Now, Liz asked the question, and I was like, when we come together, Taylor will be answering the question. Please, can you repeat the question for Taylor again before we close? Liz, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Sorry. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me again. Well, I got the question about that. I'm an immigrant, right? So we are having a Mexican dance, folklore ballet, and we need use the grant for get some training. The training has to be paid from our country, or bring a teacher to teach us in a high level of performance, right? Because Mexican culture is very authentic and doesn't have substitutes. So we cannot teach whatever we think, right? We have to do it properly, and we are planning, or giving to the children these skills to probably in the future continue preserving our culture outside Mexico and become professionals here in Canada. So this could be a a really good idea to get training in a proper way to continue forward, right? So I want to know if the grant can be applied to pay an immigrant teacher as well, right? Because here we don't have trainers, we don't have teachers. And as well, if we are investing that grant in our outfits, because there's outfits that are impossible to find here, so we have to bring them from Mexico. So I would like to know. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. I private messaged Liz too, but I think I'll share the answer for everyone. Yes, that is absolutely an eligible type of project. Typically, CADA offers project grants that are really wide, open-ended things. So you could frame your project to be around the training and skill development. Taking these lessons from someone who is a master in that form of dance, and if that required flying someone in who has that cultural knowledge, background, skill that you cannot get in Calgary, then you could definitely make a strong case, I think, for needing to bring that person here to train the community here. There's a lot of, I think, value and knowledge sharing that you could speak about in your application around that. And then, of course, if part of your application was also about putting on a show or presenting the work in any form, and you needed costumes, then that could be an expense item as well to, either create the regalia or the culturally specific costumes for the show or for the work. And that could all be in one grant, or if it's a longer term project, you could frame it as just the skill development and training in one, and then later on apply for a showcase or something like that would have those sort of relevant expenses. And definitely artist fees of any kind, mentor fees, paying the people who are performing, paying yourself, highly encouraged in our grant applications. So great questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taylor, and thank you, Liz. Does anybody have any questions before we wrap up at this time? Okay. Thank you all for attending. Special thank you to Congress Development for making this possible, for supporting us. Thank you to ROZSA Foundation. Thank you to Geraldine. Thank you to Simon. Thank you for all the attendance. After this event, you're going to be receiving a survey in your email. We just want your feedback. We want to know how we performed, what you learned, and how you felt about today's event. Please take just less than a minute to let us know how you felt about this event. And if you have any question, you can send them to me and I would do my best to answer you or direct you to the right person. Now, I'm also going to be providing their individual emails and the presentation we all had today in the email you're going to be receiving from me this coming week or from any of my team members. Thank you so much for attending and reading the messages. Thank you. I hope that we've been able to impact your lives today in your artistic growth. And we hope that you let us know how you felt. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a very great evening. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi.
Good night, everyone.
Bye. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this meeting. It was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dee.
Thank
Bye,
you, Benny.
everyone.
I see you. Thank you, Bongtu. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Farzina. Zena. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Lida. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, thanks. Bye. Thanks for coming.
I can't get out.
Just click on leave.
That's the best part. Cannot leave. And I think she was not able to leave. I still see her.
Oh yeah, and Kelly's here. I see Lida is not able to leave too, or maybe she just kind of like left the program open and like went to do something else, and now she can get out. Janira, do you have challenges logging out?
That's okay.
So it's just us. Cami, how did it go?
Great.
Great.
Oh my God.
I didn't join early because I closed. So Yeah, but from the time I joined to
We cannot hear you anymore.
You're muted. Oh, she can hear us. Okay. How did it go, Adri? Who is this? Let's see who the person is.
Sorry, it was Mark calling me. I told him, "What did you look? Why did you go? You have
Tell
to be
Mark
here
to come back."
Yeah, I told him already.
Are you back at campus,
Hey,
Kemi?
girls, good to see your face.
Hey.
I miss you.
Me too.
You both celebrated birthdays, and we haven't been able to celebrate.
I know.
That's so not okay.
It's just what it is. It's just
Hey,
what
luck
it
but
is.
at least, but hey, we did a virtual birthday party for Mark. How come we are not doing the same for you? Huh?
I was at work.
Tell
I was
me.
at work that day, actually.
Hey, Mark. Good to see your face.
Hi, Mark.
You're
muted.
muted.
You're mute. You were muted. I'm going to unmute you.
I've been indoors all day.
Okay, now we can hear you because you were on mute all the time.
Yeah.
Now we can hear you.
You're
Hey,
still
Mark.
Hey, you're still recording the session as well.
Oh, oops.